Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got something done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there and age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to talk about the student loan epidemic. Now, this is just something that has been top of mind because I am someone who absolutely values education, but I also understand that there has been implications to education that needs to be talked about. Now, I value education because I grew up in a household that valued education. My mom had a bachelor's, my father had a master's degree. My two brothers are going for their master's degree. I myself have a bachelor's, my sister has a bachelor's as well. And, you know, one thing about me growing up, I had a lot of tools in the chest box, and I knew from day one that I didn't want student loan debt. I didn't want any of that debt. So if you know my story, you know that while I was in school, I was also working, and I made sure that I graduated without any student loans. If I could give myself a round of applause with the editing and all that, I would. But that was one thing that really stuck with me, and I made it top of mind that I would graduate and I wouldn't have any student loans. I wouldn't take out any student loans. A lot of my peers, they were going to school and they were living off of their student loans. They were buying and renting out houses with student loans, and it was something that was just common to do. Spring break, they would go to Miami. I would stay back and I would work. Winter, they would go with family. I would stay back and I would work. So I never really got to enjoy everything that college had to offer, but I knew I was there for education. I knew I was there to get a degree, and I knew I was not there to be burdened with student loan debt. So here's some shocking statistics. The black community is about 13% of the U.S. population, and probably decreasing now with all the illegal migrants running around and flowing into the country. No shade. But the doctoral degree programs in the U.S. today are garnering about $150,000 to $300,000 in student loan debt. That's your doctors, your lawyers, anyone with a doctoral degree. All right. Now, master's degree program. The average on a master's degree program is $69,140. Again, $69,140. Now, when I was going to college, there was two things that I would always hear from women that I knew that would be their profession that they would get into. One was nursing, the other was psychology. Now, just from hearing women speak for 4 years on end, I knew that you couldn't do anything with a psychology degree unless you got your master's. And when you got your master's degree, you would make about $70,000 a year. That was back in 2018, 2019. Okay? Maybe times have changed, and maybe now you can make more money with a psychology degree, with a master's in psychology. But back then, that is what people were earning. Let me see. Psychology, master's degree salary. What are they averaging now in today's market? Anywhere between $60,000 to $120,000 annually. With many professionals earning more than $80,000 to $90,000. So I would say in about 6 years it's gone up $10,000 to $20,000. You do the math and tell me what percentage increases that. I would say that's about 2 to 3%. So right around where inflation should be. Uh, but with that being said, guys, uh, I wasn't even done reading off my list here because I actually took a few notes for you guys today. I wanted to be well educated and well versed on this topic. So Gen X, which is ages 45 to 60 years of age. Yes, I had to look that up too because I'm not all interested in all these generations. But Gen X, they have the most student loan debt. They have $525 billion in student loan debt, followed by millennials, which is ages 29 to 44. Millennials have $482 billion of student loan debt, so they're not far behind. And with more people in the Gen X population probably preparing for retirement, that's not going to get paid off. And with more people in the millennials having a longer window to rack up that interest because they're not paying it off on time, they're probably going to supersede Gen X, not only in degrees, but in student loans entirely. So all of those 29 to 44-year-olds, they're going to carry a whole bunch of student loans. Now, in my lifetime, which it hasn't been that long of a lifetime, I've only seen people, especially women, black women, clearing their debt one way, or two ways, I should say. Student loan forgiveness programs, where it's just simply forgiven, or you work for the government for a long enough period of time and they forgive your debt, or in divorce. You get divorced, they pay off your student loans. So that means your salary is not paying off your student loans. For example, you get a master's degree in psychology. You're expecting $69,140 on average to be what you owe after student loans after you graduate. You make $80,000 a year as a working professional. You probably don't start at that, but let's say you start at that, you're making $80,000 a year. How long would it take you to then pay off your student loans? Now, these are ambitious people who don't want to go back to mama after obtaining a master's degree or go back to papa after obtaining a master's degree. So you venture out on your own. Doesn't mean you get the most luxurious home, but maybe you get a nice apartment to rent. That's $1,200 to $1,500 a month. Let's say you're modest and you still drive that beater car since college. That's just maintenance costs here and there. And you go out with your friends occasionally. What would stop you, or how many years would it take you to actively pay off, those student loans? Well, turns out that they're not paying it off. Shocking, right? It's not a surprise that people are not paying off their student loans. It's a 13% increase on black women and their student loans versus 11% in black men. That is very disheartening. That people are taking out these things with no intentions of ever paying them off. You're taking out something and saying, you know what, I choose not to pay this thing off. And it just speaks to integrity. It just speaks to who you are as a person when you're saying, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, but I have no intention. That's like me saying I'm going to buy a house from someone, get the paper signed and everything, and say I'll pay you later and never do. I'll pay you later but never do. Right? That is essentially what is happening here. You take the benefit initially, reap the rewards for the rest of your life, and pay nothing back, or as little as possible. So again, I'm an advocate for education. I'm not an advocate for paying more for the education than what you would actually be earning. Right? If it is not profitable, it probably shouldn't be in college. Because what's the point of going to a school where you don't profit, where you don't gain anything outside of social skills maybe, and an interaction, or in a structured environment for the most part, with kids your age, pretending to be leaders of not only themselves but others. And so for me, I think it's important that people recognize, like, you're setting yourself up for a life of essential mediocrity, right? Like, you want to be educated, but financially you're dumb. There's so many different types of education that you need in this world. You need financial education, you need education, and then you need to be street smart as well, because you never know what type of environments you're going to be in. And a lot of people are lacking in at least two of those three areas. And I feel like you need to brush up on all of your skills so that you're well suited for every and any type of environment, should you happen to be in those environments. Now, if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me, how has college affected you? Did it affect you? Did you ever go to college? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.